are 3 key traits of any confident speaker? Let me walk you through each of them one by one. The first one is that you need to have a clear goal for your audience. What this means is whenever you speak, a non-confident speaker, one that isn't really sure of what they're about to say, is just rambling. They're just moving their mouths. But a confident speaker is confident because they believe in the gift that they're giving to their audience. If you're being interviewed, you're confident that you're giving valuable information about yourself to help that hiring manager make an informed decision about you. If you are giving a speech, you're confident that you are giving your audience the gift of inspiration to change their behavior when it comes to improving our environment. Whatever it is, you have a clear goal for your audience. You're not thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about, oh, will I sound polished? Will I sound put together? Am I stuttering? Am I mumbling? None of that matters because you're not thinking about yourself. And the one framework that I love to implement for all of my clients whenever they're getting started is, I want you to write this down. I want, and then you put in brackets, who is your audience? Okay, I want my audience to feel blank about blank in order to blank. I want my audience to feel some sort of emotional gift about some sort of informational gift in order to take some sort of action. Now, this is the trifecta of what your ideal goal can be for your audience. You don't have to have all 3 of these, but the key one that I encourage any of you to have is this one, the emotion. What do you want them to feel after you've spoken with them? Is that despair? Is that confidence? Is that overwhelming joy? Whatever it is, there is some emotion that you're ultimately trying to get. Maybe it's inspiration. That is going to be your North Star. And if you focus on that very intently, you're not going to even have time to get nervous. You're going to be confident because you're that convinced of your gift. Now, the second key piece when it comes to sounding like a very confident speaker is this. It's called BLUF. BLUF stands for bottom line up front. This means that whenever you're asked a question, you can say your answer in one succinct sentence. For example, if someone were to ask you, what was the biggest accomplishment of your career in the past 3 years and why? You might say, the biggest accomplishment I had in the past 3 years is helping take our revenue organization from 100 million in ARR to 500 million in ARR. Now, what did I do? I answered it quite succinctly. I didn't ramble. I didn't say filler words heading into the answer. I just answered it directly. And one tip that you can do whenever it comes to being confident immediately in your answer is to incorporate the question in your answer. Incorporate the question in your answer. So you notice what I did when might have been asked, what's the biggest accomplishment you had in your career in the past 3 years? I literally just turned it around and said, the biggest accomplishment in my career I had in the past 3 years is blank. Now, why is this valuable? Well, it helps anchor you to your core answer. It prevents you from rambling. It also buys you time to think through exactly what it is that you want to say. Now, you can also pause for at least a few seconds and then ponder exactly how you're going to articulate that first sentence. But the key is speak in bottom line up front, particularly when you're given a question or you're asked to give an update. And then finally, one key piece to sounding more confident when you speak is your delivery. And I'm going to put a down arrow here to indicate I want you to start speaking in down notes. This means that when you speak in a down note, you are lowering your tone at the end of a sentence. So here's an example. Let's say I were to say this sentence, okay? It is, I like red apples. Now, if I were to say, I like red apples, does that sound like I'm very confident or convinced in that assertion? No, it doesn't. I've inflected my tone upwards. Instead, I like red apples. I like red apples. You may think this is pretty ordinary and easy to do, but you'd be surprised. If you listen to yourself or others speak, they don't even realize they're inflecting their tone up, but that undermines their credibility. So how do you practice lowering your tone? Because sometimes you have this bad habit. Well, you do this. You practice saying sentences and pause right before you say the last word. And then once you say the last word, you then lower your tone. So if you struggle to say, I like red apples, and you instead say, I like red apples, you then practice by saying, I like red apples. Or, I love playing basketball. Or, I'm really excited about today. You pause and then you lower your tone. And the more you practice this, the more you will come off as convincing and compelling and credible. Now, if you can do all three of these things, being able to have a clear emotional goal for your audience, your North Star, being able to speak succinctly whenever you're asked a question with bluff, and being able to lower your tone, speak in down notes whenever you complete your sentences. Those three things alone, I promise you, will make you sound much more confident the next time you speak.